teamwork is an issue that engineers will have to deal with, and I wanted to talk a little bit about teams and how we can work together as a team better, and why do we have teams. I'm wearing my Penn State shirt today, show that I'm part of the Penn State team, and I'm sure you have shirts like that you identify with certain teams, and maybe a work team in the future. So why do we need teams? Well, in order to, I think most people understand that we have a better opportunity to be more productive as a team. That's true in a lot of different fields. Engineering is one of them. That you can come up with more ideas, there's more creativity. As you have a team of people working on something, it'll help broaden the whole sphere of ideas that you might have available. You can better deal with issues. Engineering is a very complicated field to get into, and so the more people, the more eyes you have on it, the more brains you have working on problems, it helps solve those problems a lot sooner. There could be a lot more complexity to them that you can achieve on a team in order to solve the problem than you could individually. You can also be more efficient in the amount of work that you're doing. If you can divide up tasks and get things done simultaneously, you can get your product out the door sooner and make it the whole process faster. Concurrent engineering is a terminology that's used to look at how you can do steps simultaneously in order to get the product out. And it helps you work together better as a team. When you work together as a team, you have better management over the team. You can work more efficiently. You can work better and get things done faster. So also some additional things, you have more people to do the work. When there's more hands on the job, you can get work done faster. So you bring different skills to the table. There's different people have different skills. Some people are really good at things. They should be put in charge of those things that they're good at. And there's some people that aren't very good at things, and so certain specific tasks, so they shouldn't be in charge of those tasks. So that's something you learn along the way. Some people just don't want to do certain things, and so they'd rather do something else. So making sure that you're putting the right people in the right places on the team. Everyone has a role to play, and it helps the team work as a whole when everyone does their role that they have. It helps tasks get done. When there's more people working together, they can help keep each other accountable and making sure that tasks are accomplished in when the time that they need to be accomplished. You can make sure that decisions are being made properly. When they have more eyes on a solution, you can have more people making sure that it was solved correctly. A lot of times when you make a mistake, you might not see it even if you look at it again because it's a mistake you made, you thought it was right. So the more people you have looking at it, the more chance you are catching those mistakes. And you provide synergy. You might have heard that word before, synergy. That's just the ability that when you have a team of people working together, that you can get more accomplished than maybe if people were working individually on a project. So, some negative factors that happen sometimes with teams is that there's always going to be personality conflicts. Some people don't get along with other people. They have different viewpoints. They have different goals and priorities. So that's going to cause conflict on the team. So maybe for your project, maybe someone on your team didn't maybe feel that they had to do their best job in order to get an A in the class. They're just happy to get a C. So that's, if you have a person that wants to get an A, a person that wants to get a C, they're going to have a little conflict in what's driving them and how good of a work they're going to do. So it helps. So sometimes when you're working on a team, people will maybe not contribute. They'll be a little bit lazy. They'll go along for the ride and allow other people to do the job instead of doing it themselves. If they kind of wait long enough, someone else will do it. So that allows them to be a little bit lazy. So that is a drawback sometimes with a team. Also, sometimes you have a very strong leader that will drive the team, and they push their ideas and they want things done a certain way, and the group kind of goes along with that, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a team with a lot of ideas, and everyone is kind of valued in that sense. So sometimes you have a very dominant leader that will kind of drive everything, which can be a problem. Also, with simple tasks, you don't really need a whole team of people. It's an efficient use of resources, so that happens. And sometimes people don't like to do certain things, and it's hard to make them do things that have to be done sometimes. So those are drawbacks also. You're never going to get a real equal division of labor. Some people are always going to end up doing more work than others. It may change over time, so sometimes they might be doing more, sometimes they might be doing less. So hopefully it's a balance in the end, but you don't always have to worry about it being fair as long as tasks are being done properly and you're doing things that you can do and like doing. Sometimes people don't like it when their ideas aren't chosen, and they might not contribute well to the team if the team isn't picking their ideas. They kind of get offended by that. By kind of making more quantitative decisions, it helps kind of take away any personal issues that might occur, but sometimes that happens. And so sometimes people won't contribute because they don't like not doing their ideas. So, and some different ways you can organize a team. Here's a few examples. Kind of a traditional way of organizing a team is that you have a leader with a bunch of members underneath. The leader kind of tells the people what to do. They go off and do their tasks and come back again when things are done. So that's a more traditional form of a team, like a coach or something like that. Maybe another form is a centralized leadership, where maybe you have a leader that's in charge of kind of making sure everything gets done, but everyone kind of has their own region that they're working on, their own tasks, their own kind of area that they're working on in order to get the project done. But they're kind of independent, but working from a centralized leadership position, that they're kind of going out and doing their tasks and being in charge of their own areas. A shared leadership position could be maybe everyone's kind of treated equally, and the leader may rotate depending on what skills are needed for the project at that time. So when it's in the time of someone needs to do a lot of concept generation, coming up with brainstorming, things like that. If there's someone that's really good at that, they can be in charge of the team at that time. Then later on, when they're doing more analysis, if there's someone that's really good at that, they can be in charge at that time. So you can share the leadership as you go along. So those are just a few examples. There's probably more than that. So different types of teams as we look at how do teams interact with each other. Kind of a basic one would be a team that doesn't really work well is a pseudo team. We're calling it a pseudo team just to call it. It is a team in name, but the people there aren't really interested in working with each other. They've been assigned to do that, so they're kind of there out of grudgingly. So they kind of see each other as rivals, that they all have their own agenda, they all want to get promoted, they all want to be recognized in some way, but they don't really want to work together. They see each other as being competitors in order to kind of make themselves move up the ladder faster. So probably they would get more done if they worked individually and didn't work as a team. That's an example of a poor team. A more traditional team is where the people accept they have to work together. They probably have a leader that's going to maybe make some decisions and assign some tasks, but they maybe still feel that they're all kind of there and they're going to be evaluated in some way individually in order to maybe kind of differentiate who they are and maybe what they might do in the future. But they're not really focused on the team. They're focused more on maybe themselves a little bit still. Maybe some people might still get away with not doing things and other people will pick up the slack. So those hard workers may feel like they're not being recognized as well, or that the whole team is being recognized and they did all the work. So that sometimes happens with a traditional team also. You may have noticed that on the team that you worked on. A cooperative team is one where the people are going to be working together better. They kind of know that they're going to be working in order to solve a complex problem, and they need each other's assistance in order to do that. So they maybe hold each other accountable a little bit better to make sure tasks are getting done and that they're working together well and making sure the project as a whole is moving along. And they do good work together. They meet to review what's been done, but then they maybe trying to accomplish work together as a team rather than just having everyone have their own tasks and share them at the end. So they're working more as a unit. And they try to improve how they're working together, trying to improve their group performance in order to get the tasks accomplished faster and be more effective as a team. And a high-performance team is our last one, which is a very kind of a rare team, but they kind of outperform anybody's expectations. It's similar to the cooperative team there, but the teammates have a real dedicated level of commitment to the team and making sure that the team itself, the whole team is successful in order to make their individual parts as a whole. They want to make sure everything is successful for the whole team, not just their parts. Most teams don't achieve this level of success or of cohesiveness, but it's possible. So in order to kind of achieve or strive to be that high performance team, we need some goals here. We want to be able to make sure that we're keeping focused on the goal of the team. You're not focused on what are your individual tasks. That's a focus, but you want to make sure that the whole team is keeping track of the overall goal. You want to make sure that you know your role on the team. What do I bring to the team? What are my skills I'm contributing? And making sure that everyone has a place and a role to play in order to make the whole team successful. You understand that there's a schedule that you're trying to keep track of, that you're trying to keep on project, and there's a scope, and what are the things that we're focusing on and what are the things that we're not focusing on, making sure we're focusing on the right stuff. You have a good method set up for making decisions, that you know how your team is going to come to a decision-making process, that you understand that in advance, that you know how your team is going to communicate with each other, what are the expectations for that, how do you run meetings, what happens at those meetings. Those are all things that you've communicated beforehand and that you have a good understanding of. You also have a good way of resolving conflict before it occurs. You've already set up some guidelines for how do you deal with that conflict, that the members are treating each other with respect when conflict does occur. And everyone knows that they're part of this team and that they all have a role to play, and they're going to work together to make that team successful. So that's a little bit about teamwork, and hopefully you can help improve your next team by making it a better team environment.